He threw her away like she was nothing. 6 years ago, when the accident shattered her spine, Jin-Woo Kim, the most feared man in New York's underground, walked out of that hospital room and never looked back. She was broken. He was powerful. And powerful men don't stay with broken things. But what Jin-Woo didn't know? Amara was pregnant. With triplets. 3 children who never met their father. 3 silent warriors who watched their mother's pain with eyes too old for their age. 3 souls bound by a survival pact no child should ever carry. And now, Jin-Woo is about to discover that the woman he abandoned didn't just survive. She became something far more dangerous. A mother. Because hell hath no fury like a woman who raised an empire alone. The city never forgets. New York remembers blood. It remembers power. It remembers the name Jin-Woo Kim the way it remembers winter. Cold, inevitable, and unforgiving. For 6 years, Jin-Woo ruled the shadows. The Korean syndicate bowed. Rivals vanished. His empire stretched from the docks of Brooklyn to the penthouses of Manhattan. He was untouchable. Until the night everything fell apart. It started with a name whispered in a back alley deal. A name he thought he'd buried. Amara. Jin-Woo's hand froze mid-signature. The pen hovered over the contract, ink trembling like his pulse. "What did you just say?" His voice was glacier slow. The informant, a wiry man with nicotine-stained fingers, swallowed hard. Amara Okafor. She's alive, living in Brooklyn, runs a small community center for kids. Jin-Woo's jaw tightened. Alive. The word tasted like rust. 6 years ago, he'd walked out of that hospital. She'd been lying in a bed, her legs lifeless, her eyes accusing. The doctors said she'd never walk again. And Jin-Woo, coward that he was, couldn't stay. He told himself it was mercy, that she deserved better than a man drowning in violence. But the truth, he was afraid. Afraid of weakness. Afraid of the way her broken body made him feel human. So he left, and he never looked back. "Why are you telling me this?" Jin-Woo's voice was a blade. The informant licked his lips. "Because she's not alone." Jin-Woo's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "She's got kids, 3 of them, triplets, about 5 years old." The world tilted. 5 years old. Jin-Woo's mind raced backward. 6 years since the accident. 9 months before that. No, it couldn't be. "Are you saying..." "I don't know whose they are, boss. But the timing..." The informant shrugged. "Thought you'd want to know." Jin-Woo stood abruptly, the chair screeching against marble. His bodyguards straightened, hands drifting toward concealed weapons. "Find out everything," Jin-Woo commanded. "Where she lives, what she does, who she talks to. And the kids?" Jin-Woo's expression turned to stone, especially the kids. 3 days later, Jin-Woo sat in the back of a blacked-out SUV across the street from a modest Brooklyn brownstone. Rain blurred the windshield. The city smelled like wet asphalt and regret. He'd memorized the address. 428 Monroe Street. A small community center on the first floor. Amara's apartment above. Jin-Woo had reviewed the surveillance footage. Watched her navigate the wheelchair with practiced ease. Watched her smile at children who ran through the center's doors. Watched her survive. But he hadn't seen them yet. The triplets. "Boss, they're coming out," his driver murmured. Jin-Woo's pulse spiked. The front door opened. Amara emerged first, her wheelchair rolling smoothly down the ramp. She wore a simple blue sweater, her hair braided back. Still beautiful, still strong. And then, 3 children, 2 boys. 1 girl. They moved like shadows around her. Silent. Watchful. The older boy, darker-skinned, sharp-eyed, held the wheelchair handle. The girl walked beside Amara, her hand resting protectively on the armrest. The younger boy trailed behind, scanning the street like a trained soldier. Jin-Woo's breath caught. They looked like her. Amara's deep brown skin, her high cheekbones, her fierce eyes. But their faces. He saw himself in the curve of the older boy's jaw, in the girl's straight brows, in the younger boy's silent intensity. Mine. The word burned through him like wildfire. "Sir?" The driver's voice was cautious. Orders. Jinwoo couldn't speak. He watched as Amara laughed at something the girl said. Watched as the older boy pushed her wheelchair with careful precision. Watched as the younger boy picked up a fallen leaf and handed it to his sister. A family. A family he'd never known existed. A family he'd abandoned before they were even born. Drive, Jinwoo whispered. Sir? I said drive. The SUV pulled away, but Jinwoo's eyes stayed locked on the rearview mirror until the brownstone disappeared. And for the first time in 6 years, Jinwoo Kim felt something he thought he'd killed long ago. Shame. Amara locked the apartment door behind her, the familiar click echoing in the small hallway. The triplets moved like clockwork, shoes off, jackets hung, homework bags on the table. They never spoke much. Not since they were old enough to understand that the world was louder than they needed to be. Mama, are you tired? Zuri, her daughter, asked softly. Amara smiled, though exhaustion clung to her bones. A little, baby, but I'm okay. Kofi, the older boy, was already filling a glass of water. Kwame, the youngest, positioned himself by the window, eyes scanning the street below. It had always been like this. Her children, born into a world that had already broken their mother, learned early that survival meant silence, that love meant vigilance. That family was a fortress you built with your own hands. Amara didn't know why Kwame stared out the window every evening. Didn't know why Kofi checked the locks twice before bed. Didn't know why Zuri slept with one hand always touching Amara's wheelchair. But she knew what it meant. They were afraid. Afraid that one day, the life they'd built would disappear. Just like their father had. Amara never spoke Jinwoo's name aloud. Never showed the children his picture. Never explained why there was no man in their lives. Because how do you explain to 3 5-year-olds that their father chose power over their existence? How do you tell them that love, real love, wasn't enough? Mama? Zuri's voice pulled her back. Yes, sweetheart. Why do you look sad? Amara's chest tightened. She reached for Zuri's hand, squeezing gently. I'm not sad, baby. I'm just remembering. Remembering what? A man who made me believe in forever. A man who walked away when forever got hard. Nothing important, Amara lied. Now go wash up for dinner. Zuri hesitated, then nodded. She kissed Amara's cheek, soft, careful, protective, and disappeared into the bathroom. Kofi set the water glass on the table beside Amara. You sure you're okay, Mama? Amara looked up at her son, at his serious eyes, at the weight he carried that no child should bear. I'm okay, she whispered, as long as I have you 3. Kofi didn't smile. He just nodded, as if filing her answer away for future reference. And Kwame, silent Kwame, stayed by the window, watching, always watching. Jinwoo couldn't sleep. He stood in his penthouse overlooking the East River, whiskey untouched in his hand. The city glittered below, a kingdom he'd conquered with blood and silence. But tonight, it felt hollow. 3 children. His children. The DNA test results had come back this morning, delivered in a sealed envelope by his most trusted lieutenant. Jinwoo had stared at the pages for an hour. Probability of paternity, 99. 97%. He was a father, to triplets he'd never held, never named, never protected. What do you want to do, boss? His lieutenant, a man named Juan, stood near the door, arms crossed. Jinwoo didn't answer immediately. He'd spent 6 years building an empire. 6 years erasing every weakness, every vulnerability, every trace of the man who once loved Amara Okafor. But now, I want to see them, Jinwoo said quietly. Juan frowned. Sir, with all respect, approaching her now, after 6 years, could be dangerous. She might... I don't care. Boss, I said I don't care. Jinwoo's voice hardened. Set up a meeting, somewhere neutral, public. Juan hesitated, then nodded. Understood. Jinwoo turned back to the window. The city pulsed beneath him, indifferent to his turmoil. He'd walked away once because he was weak, but he wouldn't make that mistake again. Not when his blood, his children, were out there in the world without his protection. Even if Amara hated him, even if she'd moved on, he had to try. Amara received the message 3 days later. It came as a handwritten note, slipped under her apartment door while she was teaching an art class downstairs. Amara, I know I have no right to ask, but I need to see you, please. Jay. Her hands shook as she read it. Jay Jinwoo. After 6 years of silence, he dared to reach out with a single letter. Rage bloomed in her chest, hot and vicious. Mama? Kofi appeared in the doorway, his eyes sharp. What's wrong? Amara crumpled the note in her fist. Nothing, baby. Just junk mail. Kofi didn't believe her. She could see it in the way his jaw tightened, the way his gaze flicked to the crumpled paper. But he didn't push. That was the thing about her children. They knew. They always knew when something was wrong, and they never asked questions that might hurt her. Go finish your homework, Amara said gently. Kofi lingered for a moment, then nodded and left. Amara stared at the note. I need to see you. Need. As if Jinwoo Kim had ever needed anything beyond power. She should throw it away, burn it, forget it ever existed. But instead, Amara found herself reaching for her phone. She typed out a single message to the number written at the bottom of the note. 1 meeting, public place. You have 10 minutes to explain yourself. Then you disappear. Forever. The response came almost immediately. Thank you. Tomorrow. 3 p.m. Central Park, Bow Bridge. Amara's chest tightened. Bow Bridge. The place where he'd first told her he loved her. Of course he'd choose there. Bastard. The next afternoon, Amara arrived at Bow Bridge 20 minutes late. Not because she was delayed, but because she wanted Jinwoo to wait. She rolled her wheelchair across the bridge slowly, deliberately. The autumn air was crisp, the leaves burning gold and crimson. Tourists snapped photos, joggers passed. The world moved on, indifferent. And there he was, standing at the center of the bridge, hands in the pockets of a charcoal coat. Older, harder, his face carved from the same stone as his empire. Jinwoo turned at the sound of her wheelchair. Their eyes met. And for a moment, the world stopped. Amara saw it all in his face, the shock, the grief, the guilt. But she also saw something else. Recognition, not of her, but of himself, of the coward he'd been. Amara. His voice was rough, like he hadn't said her name in years. She stopped a few feet away, her hands gripping the armrests of her wheelchair. You have 10 minutes. Jinwoo flinched at the coldness in her tone. But he didn't argue. He stopped, then started again. I know I don't deserve your time. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I needed to see you. Why now? Amara's voice was steel. After 6 years of silence, why now? Jinwoo's jaw clenched. Because I found out about the children. Amara's blood turned to ice. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me, Amara. Jinwoo took a step forward. The triplets, Kofi, Zuri, Kwame, they're mine. Amara's heart hammered. How do you? DNA test. Her vision blurred with fury. You tested them? Without my permission? I had to know. You had no right. Amara's voice cracked. You walked away, Jinwoo. You left me broken and alone. You don't get to waltz back into our lives because your guilt finally caught up with you. I know. Jinwoo's voice was raw. I know I failed you. I know I was a coward. But those children are mine. Amara's eyes blazed. I raised them. I fed them. I taught them how to survive in a world that didn't want them. You don't get to claim them now. I'm their father. No. Amara's voice was lethal. A father is someone who stays. You're just the man who left. Jinwoo's face crumpled. For a moment, he looked like the man she'd loved. Vulnerable, human, real. But then the mask returned. I want to be in their lives, he said quietly. Amara laughed, bitter and sharp. Of course you do. Now that it's convenient. Now that your empire is stable and your conscience is screaming. It's not about convenience. Then what is it about, Jinwoo? Redemption? You think being a father will wash away 6 years of abandonment? I think, Jinwoo said slowly, that those children deserve to know their father. They deserve a father who wouldn't have left in the first place. Silence. The bridge hummed with the city's noise. Cars, voices, wind. Jinwoo's eyes glistened. I can't undo what I did, but I can try to make it right. Amara stared at him. At the man who'd broken her. At the man who'd given her the 3 greatest gifts of her life. And she made a decision. You want to be in their lives? Amara's voice was cold. Then you earn it. You don't get to walk in like a king and claim what you abandoned. You prove you've changed. You prove you're worthy. Jinwoo nodded slowly. How? I'll let you know. Amara turned her wheelchair. But if you hurt them, Jinwoo, if you ever make them feel the way you made me feel, I will destroy you. She rolled away without looking back. And Jinwoo stood alone on the bridge, watching the only woman he'd ever loved disappear into the crowd. Again. Jinwoo didn't waste time. The next week, he sent gifts. Not extravagant, not obvious, just thoughtful.
Before you continue, if this story touched something in you, you should know this is only the beginning. The complete version includes 30 full audio stories, more than 30 hours of uninterrupted listening. No ads, no cuts, no distractions. Scan the QR code on your screen, or tap the link in the pinned comment to continue listening right now.
A set of art supplies for Zuri, high-quality watercolors and sketchbooks, a science kit for Kofi, astronomy-themed, with a telescope, a collection of classic adventure novels for Kwame. No cards, no names, just packages left at the community center's doorstep. Amara knew immediately who they were from. She wanted to throw them away, wanted to march down to Jinwoo's penthouse and hurl them through his window. But then she saw Zuri's face light up when she opened the watercolors, saw Kofi's careful fingers assembling the telescope, saw Kwame crack open the first book and actually smile, and Amara's resolve wavered. Damn him. 2 weeks later, Jinwoo appeared at the community center. Not in a suit, not with bodyguards. Just him, jeans, a simple sweater, hands in his pockets. Amara was in the middle of teaching a dance class when she saw him through the window. Her heart stopped. Jinwoo stood on the sidewalk, watching, not approaching, not demanding entry, just waiting. When the class ended, Amara rolled outside. What are you doing here? Jinwoo met her gaze. You said I had to earn it. So I'm here, to help. Amara frowned. Help with what? Whatever you need. Jinwoo gestured to the center. You run this place alone, don't you? You teach classes, manage finances, organize events. Let me help. I don't need your help. I know. Jinwoo's voice softened. But maybe the community does. Amara studied him, searching for the catch, the angle. But all she saw was sincerity. Fine, she said finally. We're painting the rec room this weekend. If you want to help, show up Saturday at 9. Don't be late. Jinwoo nodded. I'll be here. Saturday arrived cold and gray. Amara half expected Jinwoo not to show. But at 8:55 a.m., he walked through the door, carrying paint supplies and wearing clothes that looked like they'd never seen a hardware store. You're early, Amara said, surprised. You said 9. Jinwoo set down the supplies. I'm not late. For the next 6 hours, they worked in silence. Jinwoo painted walls, moved furniture, fixed a broken shelf. He didn't complain, didn't try to impress her, just helped. And slowly, Amara's anger began to crack. Not forgiveness, not yet, but something. By late afternoon, the rec room glowed with fresh yellow paint. The space felt brighter, warmer. Thank you, Amara said quietly. Jinwoo wiped paint from his hands. Don't thank me yet. I'm just getting started. Amara raised an eyebrow. Meaning? Meaning I'll be back next week, and the week after that, for as long as it takes. For what? Jinwoo's eyes held hers. For you to trust me again. Amara's breath caught. Trust isn't earned in a day, Jinwoo. I know. His voice was steady. That's why I'm not going anywhere. That evening, Amara sat at her kitchen table, staring at a photograph she'd hidden for 6 years. Her and Jinwoo. Younger, happier, whole, before the accident, before the fear, before the abandonment. Zuri appeared at her side, eyes curious. "Mama, who's that?" Amara's throat tightened. "Someone I used to know. He looks like Kofi." Amara's heart clenched. "Does he?" Zuri nodded, her small finger tracing Jinwoo's face in the photo. "Is he our daddy?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Amara closed her eyes. She'd prepared for this moment, rehearsed the words. But now, faced with her daughter's innocent gaze, the lie wouldn't come. "Yes," Amara whispered. "He is." Zuri tilted her head. "Where is he?" He made a mistake, a long time ago." "Is he coming back?" Amara looked at her daughter, so small, so brave, so full of hope. "I don't know, baby," Amara said honestly, "but he's trying." Zuri considered this, then nodded. "Okay." And just like that, she walked away, leaving Amara alone with the photograph, with the past, and with the terrifying possibility of a future she'd never allowed herself to imagine. Meanwhile, across the city, Jinwoo sat in his office. Juan stood across from him, arms crossed. The Nakamoto family is pushing back on the territory agreement. They want a meeting. Jinwoo didn't respond. "Boss?" "Handle it," Jinwoo said absently. Juan frowned. "Sir, this is a significant—" "I said handle it." Jinwoo's tone was final. Juan stared at him, then sighed. "You're distracted." "I'm focused." "On what?" "That woman and her kids." Jinwoo's eyes flashed. "Those kids are mine, Juan. And yes, I'm focused on them." "At the expense of the empire?" "What's an empire worth?" Jinwoo said quietly. "If I lose my family again?" Juan had no answer. Because for the first time in 6 years, Jinwoo Kim wasn't thinking about power. He was thinking about home. A home he'd destroyed. A home he was desperate to rebuild, even if it killed him. 3 months passed. Jinwoo became a fixture at the community center. He painted walls, fixed broken equipment, coached basketball, tutored math. He didn't try to parent the triplets, didn't force himself into their lives. He just existed, near them, consistent, present. And slowly, painfully slowly, the children began to notice him. Kofi watched Jinwoo repair a broken heater with silent fascination. Zuri showed him her paintings, hesitant but hopeful. Kwame sat beside him during story time, never speaking, but there. Amara watched it all from a distance, and her heart betrayed her. Because the man she'd tried to hate for 6 years was becoming impossible to ignore. It happened on a Tuesday evening. Amara was locking up the center when she heard voices in the alley behind the building. Loud, aggressive. Her pulse spiked. She rolled her wheelchair toward the back door, peering through the window. 3 men surrounded Jinwoo. They weren't random thugs. Amara recognized the stance, the confidence, the danger. Rival syndicate. "You think you can just walk away from the game, Kim?" One of them sneered. "The Nakamoto family doesn't forget." Jinwoo's face was stone. "I'm not part of this anymore." "You're always part of this. Blood doesn't wash off." The man pulled a gun. Amara's heart stopped. But Jinwoo didn't flinch. "Put it away," Jinwoo said quietly. "You don't want this fight." "I think I do." The click of the safety echoed in the alley, and then, "Daddy!" The scream shattered the night. Everyone froze. Kofi stood at the alley entrance, his small body trembling, his eyes wide with terror. "Daddy!" The word hung in the air like a prayer. Jinwoo's expression cracked. "Kofi!" The man with the gun turned toward the child, and Jinwoo moved. Faster than thought. Faster than fear. He stepped between Kofi and the weapon, his body a shield, his eyes lethal. "Touch him," Jinwoo whispered, "and I will burn your family to ash." The man hesitated, saw the fire in Jinwoo's eyes, the absolute certainty of violence, and lowered the gun. "This isn't over, Kim." "Yes," Jinwoo said coldly. "It is." The men retreated into the shadows. Jinwoo turned to Kofi, dropping to one knee. "Are you okay?" Kofi stared at him, tears streaming down his face. You You stayed. Jinwoo's chest heaved. I'll always stay. And Kofi, silent, stoic Kofi, threw himself into Jinwoo's arms and sobbed. Amara found them like that. Jinwoo kneeling in the alley, holding Kofi like the world depended on it. Her son crying into the chest of the father he'd never known. Her throat closed. What happened? Amara's voice was sharp. Jinwoo looked up, his eyes raw. It's handled. That's not what I asked. Jinwoo stood slowly, Kofi still clinging to him. Old enemies. They won't come back. You promised me. Amara's voice shook. You promised you wouldn't bring danger to them. I didn't. Your world did. Amara's fury exploded. This is exactly why I didn't tell you about them. This is exactly why. Mama, stop. Kofi's voice was small, but firm. He protected me. Amara's breath caught. Kofi pulled away from Jinwoo, wiping his tears. He didn't run. He stayed. The weight of those words crushed her. He stayed. Amara looked at Jinwoo, at the man who'd abandoned her, at the man who just risked his life for their son, and something inside her broke. We need to talk, she whispered. Jinwoo nodded. I know. That night after the children were asleep, Amara and Jinwoo sat on the rooftop of her building. The city stretched below them, glittering and indifferent. I'm leaving the syndicate, Jinwoo said quietly. Amara turned to him, shocked. What? I've already started the process, transferring power, dissolving ties. It'll take time, but why? Jinwoo met her gaze. Because I can't be the man they need if I'm still the man I was. Amara's eyes filled with tears. You're really doing this. I should have done it 6 years ago. Jinwoo's voice cracked. When you needed me most. But I was too afraid. Too weak. And now? Now I'm more afraid of losing you again than I am of losing my empire. Amara's heart stuttered. Jinwoo. I love you, Amara. I never stopped. Even when I walked away. Even when I tried to bury it. You were always there. In every decision. Every regret. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You broke me. I know. You left me to raise our children alone. I know. You don't get to just say I love you and erase 6 years. I know. Jinwoo's voice was raw. But I'm asking for a chance. Not to erase the past, but to build a future. With you. With them. Amara closed her eyes. I don't know if I can trust you. Then let me prove it. Jinwoo reached for her hand, hesitant. Every day. For the rest of my life. Amara looked at their joined hands. At the man who'd destroyed her. At the man who was trying, desperately, to heal. One condition, she whispered. Anything. The children come first. Always. If you ever choose your empire over them, I won't. Jinwoo's grip tightened. I swear on my life, Amara. They come first. You come first. Amara searched his eyes and saw the truth. Okay, she breathed. One chance. Jinwoo's face crumpled with relief. Thank you. They sat in silence, hands intertwined, the city breathing below them. And for the first time in 6 years, Amara allowed herself to hope. 6 months later, Jinwoo's life had transformed. He'd stepped down from the syndicate, transferred his empire to trusted lieutenants, washed his hands of blood money. It wasn't easy. Rivals tested him. Old allies questioned his loyalty. Some called him weak, but Jinwoo didn't care. Because every evening he went home to Amara's brownstone. He read bedtime stories to Zuri, taught Kofi how to play chess, sat in comfortable silence with Kwame. And slowly, the triplets stopped calling him Mr. Kim. They called him Dad. The first time Zuri said it, Jinwoo cried, but not everyone was happy. Juan showed up at the brownstone one night, his face grim. We need to talk, he said. Jinwoo stepped outside, closing the door behind him. What is it? The Nakamoto family is pushing hard. Without you at the helm, our territory is vulnerable. They're moving in on our supply lines, our connections. Not my problem anymore. Juan's jaw clenched. Boss, you can't just walk away. You built this empire, I owe them nothing. Jinwoo's voice was steel. I paid my dues in blood. I'm done. And what about the people who depend on you? The families you protected? The businesses you kept safe? Jinwoo hesitated. Hwan pressed on. The Nakamoto family doesn't play fair. They'll destroy everything you built, and the people caught in the crossfire, they'll suffer. Jinwoo's chest tightened. What do you want me to do? One last move. Negotiate a truce. Secure the transition. Then you're free. Jinwoo looked back at the brownstone, at the warm light glowing through the windows, at the life he'd fought so hard to build. How long? 2 weeks, maybe 3. Jinwoo closed his eyes. Fine. But this is the last time. Hwan nodded. Understood. Jinwoo didn't tell Amara. He told himself it was to protect her, that she didn't need the stress. But the truth? He was afraid she'd see it as a betrayal. So he lied. Told her he had business meetings, consultations for his new legitimate ventures. And Amara believed him. Until the night she saw the news. Syndicate violence erupts in Lower Manhattan. 2 injured in turf war. Amara's blood ran cold. She grabbed her phone, calling Jinwoo. No answer. She called again. Nothing. Panic clawed at her chest. Jinwoo walked into the brownstone at 2 a.m., exhausted and bruised. The negotiation had gone south. Fists had flown. He'd barely escaped. But it was over. The truce was signed. He was free. He opened the apartment door, expecting darkness. Instead, Amara sat in the living room, the TV still showing the news footage. Her eyes were red. Her face was stone. Amara, don't. Her voice was lethal. Don't you dare lie to me again. Jinwoo's stomach dropped. I was going to tell you. When? After you got yourself killed? Amara's voice cracked. You promised me, Jinwoo. You promised the children came first. They do. Then why were you in the middle of a syndicate war? Jinwoo ran a hand through his hair, defeated. It was supposed to be the last time. I was securing the transition. There's always a last time with you. Amara's fury exploded. There's always one more deal, one more negotiation, one more risk. And I'm supposed to just sit here and wait for the day you don't come home. Amara, please. No. Amara's voice broke. I can't do this. I can't watch you choose that life over us. Not again. Jinwoo dropped to his knees in front of her wheelchair, his eyes desperate. I'm done. This was the last time, I swear. You swore before. And I meant it. Every word. Jinwoo's hands shook. I know I messed up. I know I should have told you, but I did it for us. To make sure we'd be safe. To make sure the past wouldn't follow us. Amara's tears fell. I don't want safety if it costs me you. Jinwoo's heart shattered. You won't lose me. You don't know that. I do. Jinwoo gripped her hands. Because I'm not the man I was 6 years ago. I'm not the coward who ran. I'm the man who stays, who fights, who chooses you. Every time. Amara searched his face, her walls crumbling. Promise me. No more secrets. No more lies. I promise. And if you break it, I won't. Jinwoo's voice was fierce. I swear on our children's lives, Amara. I won't. Amara pulled him close, her tears soaking his shirt. I'm so tired of being afraid. Then let me be your strength, Jinwoo whispered. Let me carry this with you. And in the quiet of the night, they held each other. 2 broken people, building something whole. 1 year later, Jinwoo stood in the backyard of a house he'd bought in Westchester, 30 minutes north of the city. A real house. Not a penthouse, not a fortress. Just a home. White picket fence, oak trees. A garden where Amara grew tomatoes and herbs. A swing set the triplets had begged for. A wooden deck where they ate breakfast on weekends. It was everything Jinwoo had never known he wanted. The morning sun cast golden light across the lawn. Birds sang. Somewhere down the street, a dog barked. The world felt peaceful. Jinwoo sipped his coffee, watching the triplets play. Zuri sat at her small easel near the garden, her tongue poking out in concentration as she painted the sunrise. She'd inherited Amara's artistic soul and Jinwoo's perfectionist streak, a dangerous combination. Her paintings covered the walls of their home now. Bold, colorful, alive. Kofi was in the center of the yard, launching a model rocket he'd built from scratch. The boy had Jinwoo's analytical mind and Amara's quiet determination. He spoke little, but observed everything. At 6 years old, he already understood physics better than most teenagers. And Kwame, silent, watchful Kwame, sat beneath the oak tree with a thick book on his lap. Treasure Island. Jinwoo had read it to him last month, and Kwame had insisted on reading it again. Alone. The boy loved stories, loved words, but rarely spoke his own. Jinwoo's chest tightened with love so fierce it hurt. "You're staring again." Jinwoo turned. Amara rolled her wheelchair onto the deck, a soft smile playing on her lips. She wore a yellow sundress, her hair loose around her shoulders. Beautiful. Still the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. "Can't help it," Jinwoo said, setting down his coffee. "I'm looking at my entire world." Amara rolled her eyes, but her smile widened. "You're getting sentimental in your old age." "I'm 35. Ancient." Jinwoo laughed, a sound that still surprised him. He'd laughed more in the past year than in the previous 34 combined. He knelt beside Amara's wheelchair, taking her hand. "Happy?" Amara's eyes softened. "Happier than I ever thought possible." Jinwoo pressed a kiss to her knuckles. "Me too." They sat in comfortable silence, fingers intertwined, watching their children play. This was his empire now. Not territory, not power, not fear, just love. The past year had been a journey. Jinwoo had fully extricated himself from the syndicate. It hadn't been easy. Old enemies tested him. Rivals waited for him to fail. Some called him weak, a fool, a traitor to his blood. But Jinwoo didn't care, because every evening he came home to this. To Zuri running into his arms, paint still on her fingers. To Kofi showing him blueprints for new inventions. To Kwame sitting beside him during dinner, silent but there. To Amara waiting for him with that soft smile that meant you're home. Jinwoo had traded his empire for a family, and it was the best deal he'd ever made. He'd started a legitimate business, a consulting firm helping ex-criminals reintegrate into society. It was honest work, hard work, work that meant something. Amara had expanded the community center, using Jinwoo's resources to offer free classes, meals, and support to struggling families. She'd become a pillar of the Brooklyn community, respected, loved. And together, they'd built something neither had imagined. A life. A real, honest, good life. "Dad! Dad! Watch!" Kofi's voice rang out across the yard. Jinwoo stood, grinning. "I'm watching." Kofi pressed the ignition button on his rocket launcher. The model rocket shot into the air with a whoosh, arcing beautifully before deploying its parachute and drifting back to Earth. "Yes!" Kofi pumped his fist in the air. Jinwoo jogged over, scooping his son into his arms. "That was perfect. You're a genius, you know that?" Kofi beamed, his rare smile lighting up his face. "Can we build a bigger one?" "Absolutely. We'll start this weekend." Kofi hugged him tight. "Thanks, Dad." Jinwoo's throat closed. Even after a year, hearing that word still made him want to cry. Dad. He'd spent 6 years believing he didn't deserve the title, but his children had given it to him anyway. Zuri appeared at his side, tugging on his shirt. "Daddy, come see my painting." Jinwoo set Kofi down and followed Zuri to her easel. She'd painted the sunrise, orange and pink and gold bleeding across a deep blue sky. "It's beautiful, princess," Jinwoo said softly. Zuri looked up at him with serious eyes. "Do you really think so? Or are you just saying that because you're my dad?" Jinwoo crouched down to her level. "I think so because it's true. You have a gift, Zuri. A real gift." Zuri's smile could have powered the sun. "I'm gonna be a famous artist one day. I believe you. And you'll come to my gallery shows? Front row, every time." Zuri threw her arms around his neck. "I love you, Daddy." Jinwoo held her close, breathing in the scent of her shampoo and paint. "I love you too, baby. So much." Kwame remained under the tree, reading. Jinwoo walked over slowly, not wanting to disturb him, but Kwame looked up as Jinwoo approached, marking his place with a finger. "Good book?" Jinwoo asked. Kwame nodded. "Jim Hawkins is brave." It was more words than Kwame usually spoke in a day. Jinwoo sat down beside him carefully. "He is," Jinwoo agreed. "Do you want to be brave like him?" Kwame thought about this, his dark eyes serious. "I'm already brave." Jinwoo's heart squeezed. "You are?" "I protect Mama when you're not home, and Kofi and Zuri too." Jinwoo's vision blurred. This boy, this quiet, watchful boy, had spent 5 years being the man of the house, carrying weight no child should bear. "You don't have to do that anymore," Jinwoo said gently. "I'm here now. I'll protect all of you." Kwame studied him for a long moment. Then, slowly, he leaned against Jinwoo's shoulder. It was the first time Kwame had initiated physical contact. Jinwoo wrapped his arm around his son, holding him close. "I'm glad you're here, Dad," Kwame whispered. Jinwoo closed his eyes, tears slipping down his cheeks. "Me too, son. Me too." That evening, after the children were bathed and tucked into bed, Jinwoo and Amara sat on the deck under the stars. The night was cool and clear. Crickets sang. The wind rustled through the oak tree. Amara rested her head on Jinwoo's shoulder. "They love you." "I love them," Jinwoo said quietly. "More than I knew was possible." "You're a good father." Jinwoo shook his head. "I'm trying to be, but I have 6 years to make up for." "You can't make up for lost time," Amara said gently. "You can only build new time, and you're doing that. Every day." Jinwoo turned to look at her. "Do you forgive me, really?" Amara met his gaze, her eyes soft. "Yes, I forgive you. Even after everything?" "Even after everything." Amara took his hand. "Because you didn't just come back, Jinwoo. You changed. You became the man I always believed you could be." Jinwoo's voice cracked. "I don't deserve you." "Maybe not," Amara teased. "But you're stuck with me anyway." Jinwoo laughed through his tears. Then he pulled a small box from his pocket. Amara's breath caught. "Jinwoo." "I know this is fast," Jinwoo said, opening the box to reveal a simple diamond ring. "And I know we've been taking things slow. But I don't want to waste another second, Amara. I want to be your husband. I want to wake up next to you every morning for the rest of my life. I want to make this official." Amara's eyes filled with tears. "Are you asking me to marry you?" "Yes." Jinwoo's hands shook. "Amara Okafor, will you marry me?" Amara stared at him. At the man who'd broken her. At the man who'd healed her. At the man who'd chosen love over empire. And she smiled through her tears. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I'll marry you." Jinwoo slid the ring onto her finger, then kissed her with all the love he'd kept locked away for 6 years. When they pulled apart, Amara was laughing and crying at the same time. "We're really doing this," she said. "We're really doing this," Jinwoo confirmed. They held each other under the stars, two broken people who'd built something whole. 2 months later, they had a small wedding in the backyard. Just close friends, a few family members, the kids from the community center. Zuri was the flower girl. Kofi and Kwame stood beside Jinwoo as his best men. And when Jinwoo saw Amara roll down the aisle in her wheelchair, wearing a simple white dress, flowers in her hair, he cried like a child. She was everything, and she was his. "I love you," he mouthed as she reached him. Amara smiled. "I love you too." They said their vows under the oak tree where Kwame loved to read. Promised to love each other through joy and pain, through strength and weakness, through everything life threw at them. And when the officiant said, "You may kiss your bride," Jinwoo kissed Amara like she was the air he needed to breathe. The triplets cheered. The guests applauded. And Jinwoo Kim, former mafia boss, former criminal, former coward, became a husband, a father, a family man. That night, after the guests had left and the children were asleep, Jinwoo carried Amara to their bedroom. She laughed, holding onto his neck. "You know I can get there on my own, right?" "I know," Jinwoo said, "but I like carrying you." He set her gently on the bed, then knelt beside her. "Thank you," he whispered. "For what?" "For giving me a second chance. For believing in me. For letting me be part of this family." Amara cupped his face. "You didn't just become part of this family, Jinwoo. You are this family." Jinwoo pressed his forehead to hers, breathing her in. "I'll spend the rest of my life making you happy," he promised. "You already do."
If you stayed until the end, it's because this story stayed with you. What you heard here is just a fragment. The full experience lives in 30 complete audio stories, carefully told with every emotion, every secret, and every moment that couldn't be shared on YouTube. There are no ads, no interruptions, and you can listen anytime, anywhere, in total privacy. Scan the QR code on your screen now, or tap the link in the pinned comment, and discover what was never said.
Amara whispered. They fell asleep wrapped in each other's arms, the moonlight streaming through the window. Perfect. Peaceful. Home. 3 months after the wedding, Amara received a letter. It arrived on a Tuesday afternoon while Jinwoo was at work and the children were at school. The mailman handed it to her with a smile. "Special delivery, Mrs. Kim." Mrs. Kim. Amara still loved hearing that. She brought the letter inside, noting there was no return address. Just her name, written in unfamiliar handwriting. Elegant. Feminine. Korean. Amara's pulse quickened, though she didn't know why. She opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a single photograph. Amara pulled it out, her hands beginning to shake. A woman stared back at her. Young, maybe 25. Beautiful. Korean, with delicate features and long black hair. She stood in what looked like a park in Seoul, cherry blossoms falling around her. And beside her, holding her hand, was a little boy. He looked about 4 years old. Dark hair, sharp eyes, and a face that looked exactly like Jinwoo. Amara's blood turned to ice. Her vision blurred. Her heart hammered against her ribs. No. She turned the photograph over with trembling fingers. On the back, written in the same elegant handwriting, "He didn't tell you everything. He had a life in Seoul before you. He had me. And he had our son. His name is Minjun. He's 4 years old. And Jinwoo abandoned us just like he abandoned you. Ask him about his fiancée. Ask him about the promises he made. Ask him why he left Korea so suddenly 6 years ago. Your perfect husband isn't who you think he is. I'm coming to New York. And I'm bringing his son." Hyejin Amara's hands shook so violently the photograph fell to the floor. She stared at it, her mind racing. A son in Korea. A fiancé. Another life Jinwoo never mentioned. The walls of the room seemed to close in. All the happiness. All the healing. All the trust she'd built over the past year. It crumbled like sand. Amara pressed her hands to her mouth, trying to breathe, trying to think, trying to understand. But all she could see was that little boy's face. Jinwoo's face. Another child he'd abandoned. In the distance, she heard the front door open. Jinwoo's voice rang out, warm and happy. "Amara, I'm home early. Thought we could take the kids to the park." He appeared in the doorway, his smile fading when he saw her face. "What's wrong?" Amara couldn't speak. Jinwoo's eyes dropped to the photograph on the floor, and the color drained from his face. "Amara, is it true?" Her voice was barely a whisper. Jinwoo's silence was answer enough. Amara's world shattered. Again. Jinwoo thought he'd buried his past. But the past never stays buried. A woman from Seoul. A child he never mentioned. Secrets that could destroy everything. Was their love built on lies? Or is there more to the story? Amara must decide. Forgive again. Or walk away forever. If you want episode 02, leave a comment saying part 2 right now. We need 20 comments asking for it. This video must hit 3,000 views today. Hit those goals and episode 02 drops immediately, because Jinwoo's darkest secret is about to come to light. And the truth? It's more devastating than Amara could ever imagine. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next.